It's the best kept secret, most slept on. Keep that dirt off me like I was Teflon. I'm rare money, boss, little do you know I spit thoughts. Take part, hear me as I grasp my rip hearts. Take notice, confuse me not. I'm not here to snatch those and serve the fiends on the block. I'm no killer, but I got fam with certain time for busting shots. Let's learn the hard way to come to the devil's plot. Losing years, but he'll be back stronger. So I'm holding it down just a little bit longer. But when the whole team come back to combine, those who stand against and oppose is wartime. But we can keep it kosher, let the grown men talk. Keep the guns in the holster, let the bullshit walk. But let me know, if you want it, you can get it. But the outcome for all of us is something we gon' regret. Yo, we're all in the same boat, got similar dreams, just trying to stay afloat, fighting off devils and fiends. Some would love to see it fall, not living our dream. We all combined, we can do incredible things. We're all in the same boat, got similar dreams, just trying to stay afloat, fighting off devils and fiends. Some would love to see it fall, not living our dream. We all combined, we can do incredible things.
Formed like Voltron, we back on the scene. Them just got home, equal stacks of the green. Powerhouse squad, DMV dream team. Busting out like a fat person wearing skinny jeans. Popping and ripping strings out the inseam. Check the flavor we bring, it's such an incredible thing. Ground level to the tippy. Feeling the vibe, popping in the ride and fucks with me. Strong foundation. No time for wasting, I'm done pacing. The time is now, full throttle. You know my motto. Burn a split, take a step, yeah, that's that pip. High grade, water down rappers is bitch made. Flow tight like barbershop fades. The world ain't ready for this invasion where we raid. Tired of being broke. It's time to get skrilla.
Yo, we all in the same boat, got similar dreams, just trying to stay afloat, fighting off devils and fiends. Some would love to see it fall, not living our dream. We all combined, we can do incredible things. We all in the same boat, got similar dreams, just trying to stay afloat, fighting off devils and fiends. Some would love to see it fall, not living our dream. We all combined, we can do incredible things.
Yo, I'm dynamite, TNT in the bomb. I be running tracks down about 5 miles long. My lungs are strong, danger sound the alarm. I'm back on my routine, it's the same damn song with the new twist added. I'm at it, you can't stand it. Mr. 456 in the mix, the track addict. Call it a hobby or habit, I work the magic. Music, I abuse it and stab it, I cause havoc. This is what I do on the regular when I'm spitting. Whether freestyle or written, you bet that I'm hard hitting. Still on the mission to practice becoming Christian. I am what I eat and I chef straight out the kitchen. Bringing that hell and ring that bell in the shell. With my index fingers press buttons, light up the grill. Yo, let's have a cookout and battle, do what you feel. Better make it sound good, I make time stand still.
Yo, we all in the same boat, got similar dreams, just trying to stay afloat, fighting off devils and fiends. Some would love to see it fall, not living our dream. We all combined, we can do incredible things. We all in the same boat, got similar dreams, just trying to stay afloat, fighting off devils and fiends. Some would love to see it fall, not living our dream. We all combined, we can do incredible things. Yo, we all in the same boat, got similar dreams, just trying to stay afloat, fighting off devils and fiends. Some would love to see it fall, not living our dream. We all combined, we can do incredible things. We all in the same boat, got similar dreams, just trying to stay afloat, fighting off devils and fiends. Some would love to see it fall, not living our dream. We all combined, we can do incredible things.
Hello everyone and welcome to session 3 of the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. My name is Randie Henderson and I am one of the Black Feminist Reading Circle members of this online group. This session runs from January 20th until June 2nd and includes 2 week-long breaks. Our democratically selected reading material is Harriet A. Washington's book, Medical Apartheid, The Dark History of Medical Experimentation on Black Americans from Colonial Times to the Present. Our book group meets each Tuesday evening from 6:30 to 8 on the Google Plus Hangouts on Air platform. You may find the Global Black Feminist Reader Circle on Google Plus, YouTube, and Facebook, and always feel free to join us in reading our story together.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. This is session 3. I'm your moderator, Joel Jones. We're on chapter 10, Cage Subjects, Research on Black Prisoners. Like I said, I'm Joel Jones. I am from Charleston, South Carolina, and at this particular time, we would like everyone to go around the circle and everyone to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Edwina. I'm here with my son in Utah, who's in the Army.
Okay. How you doing?
Fine, thank you.
My name is Venita Walker, and I am here from Cromwell, Connecticut. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Randie. I'm watching from Atlanta, and I'm happy to see everyone.
Georgette?
I'm Georgette Moses. I'm participating from Columbia, South Carolina, and I'm happy to see everyone too. We have a big crowd tonight. This is good.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Kim, and I'm in New York, and it's also really good to see everybody.
All right. Miss Michelle?
And my name is Michelle. I am in Brooklyn, New York, and welcome everyone to the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle.
Just like most of the chapters in this book is it's very difficult to comprehend how human beings can treat other human beings this way. So in this chapter, Harriet Washington presents information on the inhumane treatment perpetrated on prisoners by medical researchers, doctors, prison and state government officials, and the military under the guise of therapeutic treatment or for the purpose of national security. Those who had lost civil rights now were persuaded to participate in human experiments that would leave them severely disfigured, mentally or physically incapacitated or dead. They existed in the hell of the prison system as pharmaceutical guinea pigs and subject to the whims and sadism and greed, arrogant, racist physicians and their staff. Prisons all across the country were involved from the early 50s. It took scandals, lawsuits, and stringent regulations on human experimentation by U.S. Department of Health, Education, and Welfare in 1978 to purge research from prisons. However, by 1999, Boston University researchers were suing to regain access to over 2 million potential guinea pigs in the prison system around the nation. Georgette, do you mind reading Holmesburg Prison, Acres of Skin? I think we're going to find this to be pretty terrible, but kind of insightful.
Okay. The 1998 book, Acres of Skin, by Alan Hornblum, detailed the true stories of abuse and exploitation of the prisoners at Philadelphia's Holmesburg Prison Complex between the 1950s and 1970s. This abusive human experimentation was practiced mostly on African American men by Dr. Albert M. Kligman. In his own words, he says that they were used for the worst, most dangerous experiments. Dr. Kligman, a dermatologist, saw an opportunity to conduct lucrative experiments on thousands of captive bodies. He saw acres of skin he could use to fill his pockets with federal, pharmaceutical, and cosmetic company money. He had exclusive use of inmates to test 153 experimental drugs between 1962 and 1966 alone. Jesse Williams was among the 75% of the inmates who would endure permanent skin and nail injury from these experiments. Dow Chemical Company paid Kligman to test dioxin, a suspected carcinogen. He routinely enrolled inmates in multiple researches at the same time, from radioisotopes and extreme temperatures to herpes, smallpox, and wart viruses, staphylococcus, and the banned chemical solvent dimethyl sulfoxide, DMSO. The FDA finally began scrutinizing Kligman's work in 1965, finding irregularities and falsification of reports in his documentation, as well as concern that he was dabbling in fields far outside of dermatology. He also destroyed or lost medical files, making it difficult to prove he used African Americans disproportionately in his experiments. They removed him from their list of approved researchers, but reinstated him 1 month later. Question number 4. Dr. Kligman used prisoners to create the anti-acne medication Retin-A, which made him a millionaire. Do you think either he or the pharmaceutical companies owe the test subjects something for their sacrifice? And question 5, why do you think it took the FDA so long to remove Dr. Kligman from its list of approved researchers? Why would they restore his privileges to perform drug testing for just 1 month later?
Go ahead, Georgette. You want to take the first stab on some of those?
Okay. Well, yeah, I would say that Dr. Kligman and everybody else who benefited off of the skin and blood and suffering of these prisoners, they owe them something. Much more than whatever the little $3 or whatever they got, you know, to go through all the testing. But the problem is, if they do get, you know, there were some that got together for a suit, but what is any amount of money worth you losing all your hair, or you have acid on your scrotum, or your back is all scarred up? And if you take your shirt off, like it's I've forgotten the page number, the guy, the ex-prisoner, was saying that you knew who was an inmate at this prison because your back was a checkerboard of scars. You would know who had been, you know, in prison during the time Kligman was doing his research. So you've messed up somebody's mind and body for life.
This is a quote from Dr. Kligman. It was years before the authorities knew that I was conducting various studies on prisoner volunteers. Things were simple then. Informed consent was unheard of. No one asked me what I was doing. It was a wonderful time. How does that make you feel, Michelle?
Oh, that pisses me off, Joelle. that quote about Dr. Kligman recalling what a wonderful time it was made it into one of my highlights videos because it's striking. Though it reminded me, Venita, of what I was saying here before about, this really being a different era. And that's one thing that I try to keep in mind. He was describing the reality of what he went through. Nobody was checking on him. There's another quote in there where it says the social workers, they kind of wondered what was going on in the back room there with the doctors and the prisoners, but the doctors wore white coats and they looked authoritative. So they didn't ask. Again, like Nurse Rivers, that's what I was saying about Nurse Rivers. It's inconceivable to us that she wouldn't ask questions or that these social workers wouldn't ask questions. But that's really kind of how people were before all of these revelations came to light. You trusted the doctors. You trusted, anyone who was in an authoritative position. And so, as angry as it makes me to hear him say that, I have to acknowledge he's describing things as they were. There was no oversight. He got to do whatever the hell he wanted to do, and that's what he did.
So, Venita, the same question, how does his statement make you feel?
I think that still happens now. I don't think things have changed a lot. I had the pleasure of talking to someone because I was checking up on Harriet Washington's writing today. So I spoke to a person that was actually in prison 5 years ago. And believe it or not, they were enlightening me on a lot of things. I don't know the prison system. I don't know how it works because I don't know many people that have gone to prison. But they were enlightening me on quite a few things. When they were in prison, there's a poster board, they said, a bulletin board right there that had the experiments that are posted. 5 years ago. So I'm assuming that's still going on now. They were posted, what experiments, when they would take place, what the pay is. It's all posted. Because the prisoners that are there, they need money to try to make their life comfortable. That was what this person told me, more comfortable or somewhat comfortable in prison. He also told me that the people that really were in the biggest danger were the ones that come there with medical issues, like ones that have mental issues, schizophrenia, bipolar. They're not even put with the regular prison population. They're taken right to the medical ward. And they're kept doped up on lithium and all those heavy-duty drugs, and they actually walk around in a stupor. If they have 10 years, they will walk around in stupor for 10 years. So today, and that was 5 years ago, he told me that these were the ones that were more susceptible than anyone else.
Wow, so therefore, the weaker.
The most vulnerable.
Most vulnerable.
Yes, and then there were those that, because everybody that goes to prison is not poor. And that's an assumption. There's a lot of middle-class folks who go to prisons that come from wonderful homes and money wasn't an issue. But for those that did go there that didn't have family to give them money, because money buys everything in prison, whether it's for your comfort, whether it's for cigarettes, whether it's for the food is awful, so they have even places you can buy different food in prison. It's a big business there. Those are the second people that were good subjects that would volunteer. Not saying they understood what they were volunteering for, but this is the pay. So that was the insight that I got today, and a lot of other stuff that we don't have time to discuss, but it's pretty heavy, and that was 5 years ago.
Okay. Interesting. So, Venita, since I've neglected you, could you take part 2 of this, of the Holmesburg Prison, Acres of Skin?
Can I give my theory for question 5 right quick?
Sure.
Why would they restore his privileges to perform drug testing just 1 month later? Because I think, they said that he either lost or got rid of medical files, so he knew a lot about a lot, and they probably want to test a lot of the things, and probably one of his stipulations was you have to reinstate me if you want to know how I did it or the information that I found through working on these prisoners, and I think that's what they did. That's the only thing I can think of
Money.
as to why they would.
Yeah, he was a boy. He did a lot of people, Anybody else before we move on?
Well, I think that the thing that's coming up for me is that I don't even think any of these experiments are real science, because I think that when you have a scientific experiment, you have to kind of keep that subject as clean as possible. So how are you going to have 7 experiments, 8 experiments on Jesse Williams, was it, at the same time? So how is it possible that you can have 3 or 4 different treatments or experiments on the same subject at the same time and then think that that result is not going to be skewed?
Right.
I think that they must have gotten paid for every test that they did on a body. And so it wasn't about the results, it was about just the money for the testing. And so that's what's coming up for me, because there's no way possible that if you're studying something, you want to study it on a patient, and that's the only drug you have in his body. He shouldn't be under the influence of 20 other different things. So it just seems unhuman, and it also just seems like it wasn't even science. Whatever results they got wasn't even something that you could rely on.
Yeah, I think most of the things wasn't just science. It was just, in my opinion, a lot of them just twisted. They were just guinea pigs.
Yeah, and then the, you get the result of this pseudoscience, and the pharmaceutical company can then begin to market the product.
Right.
Where they can really make money, where they have been paying money to the doctor to create this result. Now they can start making money.
That's right, but I think they were saying in the reading that there was some drug that they tested on inmates, and then they gave it to a pregnant woman, and the drug did not react the same way because that inmate probably had 7 other things in his system. So the test that you're trying to see, is this going to be safe for a white person? It doesn't matter, because you're doing 10 tests at once. So how could you rely on that testing?
Well, I think that we're being naive, and I think it's a problem that black people have. We cannot comprehend. We cannot comprehend the barbarity going on here. Like you just said, and then it'll be safe. They don't care if it's safe. They don't care if it's safe. They don't care if it's safe when they market it to the world.
Exactly.
And as Georgette told us a couple of weeks ago, and now they got it set up so there's a cap on how much they can be sued for. They consider being sued a cost of doing business.
That's it.
They don't care who dies. They don't care who gets hurt.
If I may say something, if you see advertisements on television, Celebrex, well, it's good for this, but remind you, these are side effects. You might go blind, your teeth will fall out your head, your heart may stop beating, your lungs will stop working, your kidneys will malfunction, your toes will fall off, but this is safe, so go on and take a few.
Right.
Yeah.
So that tells you right there that these are not safe.
Or, any of the other, Viagra, anything else. Yeah, you might get a heart attack, your teeth might fall out, but you will get a boner.
Decision.
What do I want here? Do I want this or do I want that?
Well, you know, what really bothers me and what scares me when that person was telling me about the patients that were more susceptible were the ones that were mentally ill. Those probably were the ones they used to put their beings that they were all in a zombie form 24 hours a day to keep them controlled. They might have been the ones they used to put their arms down in acid.
Right.
It just scares me to think how even much more they were abused. I don't know if you know about lithium and those heavy-duty drugs.
Yeah.
You know, they were walking around like zombies. So, I mean, could you imagine how even more abused they were?
Yeah.
Because lithium can have you so you just can't even move. You just are sitting there looking into space. Okay, we'll come by, we'll pick up Tom. Tom, he can't even react because he's so drugged up, and we'll take his arm and stick it down this chemical to see what happens. You see what I'm saying? When you really think about it, it can get even more scarier.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and and that's the same kind of thing that's going on that I saw going on in the shelter system.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much if you're not a drug addict when you go in, they will do their best to make sure that you're one by the time you come out. Because no matter what your circumstances or symptoms are, they are trying to put you on the highest dosage of drug possible. But it's all about, in that case, it's about control. There's certainly control dimension in prisons, but as far as the experiments go, they're trying to learn something, purportedly. In the shelters, I don't know that they're experimenting, but they're trying to control people, just like they're trying to control people in the school system. It's like we've got, all of these arenas now where people are just being drugged to the max. To what end? For what purpose? For whose benefit?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A pill for everything.
Yeah.
Called mind control.
Yeah.
Mind control, keeping you catatonic and helpless.
Yes.
Mm. So,
but you'd be surprised when people are taking these drugs. You'd be surprised. I remember standing there waiting for my little person when Clint was a little person, waiting for him after school, and he's in 2nd or 3rd grade. And I live in a predominantly non-black area.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the mothers, the things they would say, I mean, they were taking Prozac and Xanax because their nerves was bad. They couldn't deal with a 2nd grader. I mean, there's a pill for everything. But you don't see these mothers and these parents, that are walking out of their suburban homes as drug addicts. But let me tell you, they were some doped up women with pretty nails and hair. They was, I stand there like, I was just amazed, and I would listen, and I'm saying to myself, that little bubble up there, if you can't handle a 7-year-old, maybe you need to rethink being a mother. Maybe this is not your gig. Maybe you need to take something else. But let me tell you, people were doped up of a Valium, Xanax, Prozac, you name it.
Yeah.
Pharmaceutical drug addicts.
That's some of the biggest drug addicts in the suburbs. That's why it looks so pretty. They're not ran on the street. They're getting into their big BMWs. The nails are done, the hair is done. The Range Rovers is looking all pretty, but they are so drug addicted it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctors are drug pushers. They come in and say, I can't handle little Johnny. The doctor said, don't worry about it, Mrs. Van Huysen. I got something for you. She said, all right now, go get her massage when she get finished. And little Johnny ain't no problem no more. Okay?
They're pushing those antidepressant drugs.
Yes.
Young women in these shelters or whoever, that they're chemically unbalanced. You have a chemical imbalance. It'll make you feel better.
Yeah, we're in a feel-good society. That's why we're all crazy. Okay.
It's the best kept secret, most slept on. Keep that dirt off me like I was Teflon. I'm rare money, boss little do you know I spit thoughts, take part. Join me as I grasp my rip hearts. Take notice, confuse me not. I'm not here to snatch souls and serve the fiends on the block. I'm no killer, but I got fam with certain time for busting shots. Let's learn the hard way to come to the devil's plot. I'm losing years, but he'll be back stronger. So I'm holding it down just a little bit longer. And when the whole team come back to combine, those who stand against and oppose is wartime. But we can keep it kosher. Let the grown men talk. Put the guns in a holster. Let the bullshit walk. But let me know if you want it, you can get it. But the outcome for all of us is something we don't regret. Kids, we all in the same boat. Got similar dreams. Just trying to stay afloat. Fighting off devils and fiends. Some would love to see it fall. Not living our dreams. We all combined. We can do incredible things. We all in the same boat. Got similar dreams. Just trying to stay afloat. Fighting off devils and fiends.